Contrary to widely held beliefs that Africans, especially from Southern Africa, lived in ignorance, poverty and squalor, archaeology has proved that numerous empires rose and fell in the areas of what is now known as the SADC region, specifically in Zimbabwe, Zambia, Malawi, Mozambique, South Africa, Botswana, Namibia. It is very clear that these empires grew and they were sophisticated. And yet, what we know is that there was a golden kingdom of Southern Africa that was hidden by Apartheid South Africa for over 50 years, because racism and Apartheid in Southern Africa could not allow them to tell the truth. Apartheid is the dark shadow of Europeans in Southern Africa. Africa was plagued by one of the most divisive and oppressive systems Europeans have ever designed, other than the killing, sodomizing and the drowning of our ancestors in the Atlantic. Their apartheid, which means separateness, was purely evil, where they could actually label a toilet. Its roots lay in the deep-seated belief amongst Europeans that melanin-dominant human beings, black people, Bantus, or so-called Africans, were inferior and incapable of achieving great feats of civilization. This is still the operating mentality in invaders' minds, especially in Europeans, as well as pale Arabs in so-called Middle East, which never existed and which does not exist for us. There is evidence of a golden kingdom of Southern Africa that shocked apartheid to its core. For centuries, this rich historic issue, dating back to almost 2,000 years, was hidden from the world. The fact that Bantu-speaking people of this region had a highly civilized existence hundreds of years before the first European arrived was simply too much for the oppressive government of Europeans to bear. The first European to arrive at the Cape of Good Hope in 1488 was a Portuguese explorer known as Bartolomeu Diaz. But when he arrived there, hundreds of years before that, the kingdom of Mapungubwe had already risen up and fallen, and the kingdom of Zimbabwe had already come up and fell. The kingdom of Torwa, led by the Torwa dynasty, as well as the Roses, had already come up and Kami, which was named after where these people came from, had already collapsed. This forgotten jewel we want to consider today is Mapungubwe, which is nestled within the Zospasen Mountains and is a testament to the wonders of history that lay hidden and that flourished between the 9th and 14th century. And this civilization showcased remarkable advancement in a lot of areas, art, culture and trade. But its true significance had been obscured because of the veil of apartheid, because it was an inconvenient truth that challenged the narrative of black inferiority. This is what Mapungubwe rose and achieved. They could work with gold, metallurgy, mining, and all the sophistication that you can think of. They were so advanced that they made golden ropes, sculptures, weapons, nails, golden nails, as well as their own metalwork to showcase their intricate artifacts and ornaments, including the famous golden rhino. And these are the people who left their mark. They don't look Arabic, they don't look Semitic, they are melanin dominant human beings, Bantu or Bantus. The apartheid regime remained tightly the exact behavior of Europeans and pale Arabs for more than 40 years. Evidence was only made public a few years after the first democratically elected government came into power in 1994. So these are the trade items they traded in East Africa right up to India and China. Mapungubwe was home to advanced culture of people. The civilization thrived as a sophisticated trading center for around 1000 to 1400 AD. It was the center of the largest kingdom in the subcontinent you call SADC today. And they traded with China, India, Hamid, and many other places. They established cities which we are showing here. And no one could tell you this. They hid it. According to the archaeology department of University of Witwatersrand, mapungubwe represents the most complex society in Southern Africa and is the root of the origins of Zimbabwean culture. It is testimony to a civilization that existed and flourished before Europeans knew there was a Southern Africa to talk about. So it was mapungubwe first, and then followed by Great Zimbabwe, and then the Mutapa. And all these kingdoms existed. The kingdom of Luba, and the kingdom of the Congo, and the kingdom of the Nok, existed before Europeans ever knew there was a place called Sub-Saharan Africa, which they call Sub-Saharan Africa today. Around 1934, one of the excavators, Van Tonde, uncovered an extensive grave area and was able to hand to scientific judgment a large quantity of gold and metal objects, as well as the fragments of 23 skeletons, one of which had 70 ounces of gold and a third had its leg, the whole leg, wreathed in cover with 100 bangles of gold. It is very, very important that this important work of mapungubwe was hidden. The book was never shown, was never publicized, and it is very clear that the mapungubwe site shows black achievement in a land that was ruled by people that thought they are unique, but they are the ones that had come to colonize, had come to us for no reason at all. If you ask them what had Africans done to them to come and colonize and kill and sodomize and rape, they have no reason. Who then is civilized? That's the question we want to ask, because they can hide evidence. Almost 12,000 beds of gold were discovered there, and they hid all that. Also, from an archaeological point of view, the people of mapungubwe were of the Venda and Kalanga or Karanga or Shona ancestry. They have a history that we shall show shortly where they came from. They were also farmers. They were great hunters. They also worked with the pottery, ostrich eggs, as well as traded with many other places. And they lived in communal settings and homes with stone walls like that. And they were peaceful people. They never wanted to war. They never wanted to shed blood. Starting with the kingdom of mapungubwe, they traded and they went over this. These are the cities they established: Tulamela and Zata, mapungubwe, Kami, is Matopos in Zimbabwe, and they also Fura and many other places that they occupied right up to the ocean at the southern part. The history of the Venda, who are the people there today, starts with the kingdom of mapungubwe, 9th century, where King Shiriedenga was the first king of Venda and mapungubwe. The mapungubwe kingdom stretched from South Sparston in the south across the Limpopo to the Matopos in the north, right up from here right to Matopos, somewhere there. The first Venda settlement in South Sparsberg was that of the legendary Chief Toyandu, head of the elephant. His royal crow was called Zata, which we have shown. The mapungubwe collection is a museum collection of artifacts found at the archaeological site and is housed in the mapungubwe museum. And it shares the ancestry of the Venda, the Lobedu people, and the Kalanga. They are also related to the Soto-Tswana peoples, Soto-Tswana and Shona groups. All of them today fall under the term Vendaland or Limpopo province. According to our oral history, if we ask where did they come from, we know and we are told that our forefathers lived in what is now known as Khartoum, between the two rivers of the Nile. Apparently, they came to call themselves Abagoba. Goba, Ngoa, Ngona, Nguni, Goya in some books. From there, they migrated to Bal in Ethiopia and they named their place Goba. You can still find places like that and places like that. It is here that words like Ishe or Shewe or Nkos, K-G-O-S-I, was used for Abangoba, Ngowa. Then they moved to the Central Lakes region here. There have been many migrations. The Europeans want to insist on only one. There have been many. In the book, Free from God, Unveiling Spirituality that Creates Wisdom, it is explained in a very thorough manner. And then they were led by Zibaguru, the ancestor, and arrived at the Zambezi here. Mapungubwe people, a lot of them, Karanga Rose clans, Vanyai, Valembetu, Valovedzi, Vasenzi, settled in Venda. Banyai and Valembetu occupied the whole eastern Venda. The Banyai prominent chiefs were Makahane, Nelombe, and Shiloa. Vasenzi consisted of Masingo, Batauti, and Vandalamo. They were also joined by the Valemba, who claimed to be of Semitic origin, although we know they are not. The totems of the Vavenda is Ndo, Mudau, Kwinda, Mpwevo, Mdzanani, Chilimanga Gole, Makahane, Mbezi, Mtwanamba, Munyai, Mulea, Mufamadi, Muluvu, Mjenjele, Munarini. The other terms are the same with the Karangas and the so-called Shonas. The Venda language itself is also known as the Luvenda or Shivenda, originated from the Bantu language and is also related to the Niger-Congo language family. Shona, Zimbabwe, Yoruba, and Igbo, Nigeria, and Swahili, and Tanzania. And you can see this is the rainmaker, the girl initiate, girl graduate, and young mother. This is the graduation that they go through. There have been a shift of kingdoms and shift of power. Mapungubwe first, and then Zimbabwe, and then Kami, and last Mtapa. These are the four that dominate the history of the Mtapa Empire in Southern Africa. It is very, very clear that the Vavenda moved south of the Limpopo or Vembe River, and the Mtapas were known to be flamboyant. They wore cotton clothes and robes, and they were fighters and they were warriors. And also they were great queens and kings. Some of them are shown here. We want to say the reign Queen Mujaji. These are all our ancestors. A great king also, Nkosimakado Chilwavusuku Ramabulana. And this is where we want to say the current president of South Africa, Ramaphosa, is a Venda. Is a more of a Venda, a Karanga, a Kalanga, a Shona, a Zimbabwean, if you want to use tribalistic, British-derived borders. But we don't do that as Marifado. This man, Chilwavusiku Ramabulana, was a warrior, great warrior, king of the Vavenda, 1825 to 1895. Is well known as a dominant member of the single tribe of the Vavenda, who fought and destroyed the Afrikaners. It was only when his own people, his wife and his brother, poisoned him that the Europeans succeeded. They have also rituals, the Vavenda, and they have got many sacred sites along the Limpopo where they go to communicate with the ancestors, like Lake Fundudzi, and also a lake that is believed to have a white python in it with mystical waters and other mystical spirits. Sidutwane, they live there. There are a number of rituals and traditions involved in the interaction between the Vavenda people and the spirits of Lake Fundudzi. When ancient Venda kings die, their remains are placed in this lake so that the white crocodile could cough up a stone that is given to the new king to swallow. If the king who is supposed to swallow it fails to swallow it, he is not the right one to sit on the throne. And when you go and visit this lake, there's also a white crocodile and also a white python. You are supposed to do the Fundudzi supplication, where you turn your back and bend and look at it upside down through the spread of your legs. If you don't do that, you will be cursed. After years of tireless research, the truth must no longer be silenced. We are witnessing today the grandeur of Mapungubwe and all the other stone cities in southern Africa. These cities are a remnant of our lost metropolis and civilization. The narrative of African history must undergo a revolution and a profound shift in your mind. And it must shatter the oppressive narratives peddled by Christians, Muslims, Jews, Hebrew Israelites, and anyone else who tells you that your ancestors didn't do anything, or that you must worship their God and your God is nothing. Remember, Lake Fundudzi is waiting for us. Let us always know and repeat daily that we are a great people and we are great kings and queens. I am a great person. I am a great king myself. Amen. This is a message to all melanin dominant human beings all over the earth. If you need more information, please send us an email on join@marfado.com. Till we meet again, your manager to Priest Rabbi LM Tumizulu Kunikeni Mjakanja saying, yes, Mapungubwe is our signature today and forever until we join our ancestors. Amen.